Have you ever wondered what the first home would look like? Not the brick and glass tower of today, but the very first space where humans huddled for safety, warmth, and belonging. Imagine standing at the mouth of a dark cave 50,000 years ago, torch flickering against the rock, the scent of smoke thick in the air, and a family inside learning what home might mean for the first time in human history. This is the story of how shelter shaped civilization, from dam cave to sun-baked hut to the earliest civilization village that became the seed of cities. Long before the first hut rose from mud and grass, the cave was humanity's refuge. The world they inhabited was violent. The Ice Age ruled much of the planet with brutal winter, roaming predators, and scarce food. To early humans, a cave wasn't just a hiding place, it was a froster against chaos. Archaeologists have uncovered breathtaking evidence of cave life across continents. In Spain's famous Altmaier cave, walls bloom with orc and charcoal animals. Ancient masterpiece created by Homo sapiens over 20,000 years ago. In South Africa, Blambo's cave, layer of ash and pigment hint that people were not only sought for shelter, but also thought, planned, and created. Inside those rocky chambers, fire danced against the wall, a flickering companion through countless nights of fear and wonder. Families slept in shared warmth, listening to the distant growl of lion outside. Every ceramic echoed with a vibration of survival. Yet caves were more than prison from the cold. They nurtured the first spark of community. But caves had limits. They were fixed, scarce, and shaped by nature's whim. As population grew, people began to look outward. They need something they could build, a portable, affordable form of protection. Archaeologists have traced humanity's first construction shelter to open landscape, where mammoth bones, branches, and hides form crude domes. At sites like Mesorik in Ukraine, where hut made entirely from mammoth tusks dated back nearly 1500 years. The walls were lined with skin, the interior warmed by heart. Imagine the tremendous creativity that required turning the remains of hunted giant into homes. Elsewhere in the dry plains of Central Asia, semi-spherical hut made of wicker and clay rose from the earth like organic bubbles. Stone circle at Gog Cave in England and Dolny Westerners in the Czech Republic show the same ingenuity. Humanity learning architecture from scratch. At this point, something profound shifted. Shelters were no longer just shelters, they were human expressions. The earliest architects were not merely survivors, they were creating environments that reflected identity, skills, and even social orders. How did Stone Age people decide where to settle? It wasn't random. Every cave, every hut site followed invisible rules, patterns of survival we can still recognize today. Water was the lifeblood. Many Paleolithic sites sit near rivers or lakes, providing both drinking water and food. In places like Jericho, one of the world's oldest continuously inhabited sites, proximity to a spring turned barren desert into human oasis. Then came the hut. Settlements were strategically positioned along animal migration route, close enough to the forest for wood, but not deep enough to risk predators. Safe from flood, yet within the reach of fertile ground. Even wind direction mattered. Ancient builders understood airflow long before architecture school existed. They faced their shelter away from prevailing winds, using cliffs, boulders, or earthen mounds for insulation. And above all, safety. A cave at height elevation made it easier to spot danger. A cluster of huts meant shared defense. Through trial, error, and tragedy, people were engineering their lifestyle for efficiency and endurance. Archaeologists call this economical intelligence, the ability to read the environment like a book. Each shelter wasn't just built in nature, it was built with nature. As the ice age thawed, the world transformed. Forests spread, rivers swelled, animals migrated differently. Humans too began changing patterns, from nomadic wanderers to semi-settled foragers. Temporary camps were once essential. People followed herds seasonally, building lightweight shelters that could be dismantled in hours. A ring of stone for a hut, poles lashed together with sinew, hides stretched across frames. These were the tents of prehistory. But around 1200 BCE, something revolutionary happened. People began to staying put. Sites like Abu Huraira in modern-day Syria and Jarf al-Ahmar in the northern Mesopotamia revealed traces of long-term settlements. Clay floor, storage pit, and grinding stone suggested permanent life. Why did early humans stop moving? Climate stability after the Ice Age allowed consistent plant growth. While cereals appeared, with reliable food came the freedom to build lasting homes. This marked the birth of community, not just a group of families but integrationally living space with a shared labor, belief and custom. The rhythm of existence changed from the footstep of migration to the heartbeat of place. These small permanent sites eventually blossom into the first village. Among the most astonishing is Çatalhöyük in modern Turkey. Around 7000 BC, it thrived with tightly packed mud brick house, glued together like honeycomb cells. No streets. People have to climb through rooftops to enter their homes. Inside walls were painted with hunting scenes and symbolic art. Beneath the floors, ancestors were buried. Life and death coexisted under one roof, a vivid testament of humanity's deepening connection with home and heritage. Even older is Jericho, often called the oldest city on earth. Around 9500 BCE, its residents built a stone wall and possibly the first tower structure known to humankind. Further north, Ain Ghazal in Jordan revealed early temple and naval core near the Euphrates, sacred space born for stable living. From cave cluster to communal hut, from temporary shelter to village network, humanity was writing architecture's first chapter, a story of settling down and standing tall. So, what did this long journey from cave to village mean for our species? First, it rewired our brains for cooperation. Living in shared space demand negotiation, empathy, and planning, the social software of civilization. Inside those early shelters, we practice communication skill that later birthed language and law. Second, it changed the rhythm of time. Nomad lived by short cycle, days, season, migration. Settlers began to measure year, generation, and legacy. The concept of past and future grew from the soil beneath their hut. Third, shelter alter our relationship with the planet. For the first time, humans began shaping landscape on purpose, cutting forests, irrigating fields, and building walls. We became architects not only of structure, but of ecosystem. Anthropologists often call this the domestication of space, the moment when humanity's imagination began to take physical form into the real world. Every village was a prototype of a future city. Every heart was a seed of civilization. And perhaps more importantly, the emotional bond we still feel with home. That deep calm of returning to our own space is an echo of first fire flickers in cave wall. Picture again that family in their stone age shelter. Outside snow covered the valley. Inside the child stared at the firelight reflecting on patterned walls, marked made by ancestors gone for centuries. That momentum of protection, of belonging, is the foundation of everything we are. It's what allowed us to dream, to plan, to build pyramids, places, and skyscrapers. The first human homes were not grand, but they were monumental in meaning. We often think of civilization beginning with writing or agriculture, but maybe it began simply with the decision on to stay, to build, and to believe that a space could hold memories. From the dark depth of cave to the bright country yard of every village. Humanity's story of shelter is one of courage, creativity, and transformation. Every hut built on the wind-swept tundras, every mud brick home is an ancient valley. This promise that here we are safe, here we belong. As we look around our modern cities, made of glass, steel, and concrete, we carry echoes of that ancient instinct, the same need that one drove a small tribe to gather by warmth of fire. So next time you close your door, remember your home is a time machine. Every wall around you, every roof above is the descendant of a cave half a world away, east in firelight around 50,000 years ago. So if you have enjoyed this journey into the deep past, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and join me next time as we continue our story from stone to civilization.